Thank you very much. Doc, so what are some of those values that underpin your life? When it comes to leadership, what are the values that you balance your life with?
Okay. First of all, I have a strong conviction about what I want. And so it's normally good to know who you are, where you are going, what you want. So I always have that strong conviction. The other thing is about a strong sense of value. Maybe it's my upbringing. You know, like I said, most of my life, most of my education has been in the Christian setting. You know, maybe that is what even made me do a PhD from a theological seminary. You know, but most of my life, the things of the church, the things of God have appealed to me. So I have this strong sense of value, and which I'm not ashamed to talk about anyway. And so because of that, it doesn't matter what is happening where I am. My values always come to the fore. And interestingly, because of that, there are people who I'm not that close to, but from afar, they can tell what the values are. And so sometimes when you are doing something in my presence, they tell you, no, you know, this person doesn't like that. And I get surprised because I haven't shared it with them. But just by observing me, by knowing me, they can tell what strong sense of values that I have. And then the other thing is about taking measures and paying the price to attain any goal that I focus on. You know, when I want to do something, I count the costs. Once I'm convinced that this is for me, I'll pay whatever price I need to pay to get it. I'll get focused, do everything, invest every resource that I have to invest in it. My time, money, and all that. And then the other value is continuous learning. Because of course, if you want to remain relevant as a leader and you don't learn, you cannot be relevant. And I remember one man of God who has also influenced my life greatly. He's written many books, and according to those who serve under him, he reads a lot, he's always learning. And so one of his junior pastors approached him and is like, "Sir, you know so much, you're always teaching us so much, but how come you are still learning?" And he said, "Oh, the way some of you are going, if I don't keep learning, very soon I'll become irrelevant." And I learned this because I did a course in his outfit in 96, 97. In fact, that was my first formal exposure to leadership coaching. And I learned so much from this man. You know, so that is a lesson that has guided me, that if you don't learn continually as a leader, you know, it may not necessarily be formal learning, but every opportunity you have, you need to learn so that you continue to be relevant. And I do that a lot. I do that a lot. So I ask questions a lot. I'm very curious. I'm not ashamed to talk about what I don't know. I'm not ashamed to talk about what I don't know and to ask questions. Because for me, there's no end to what you can learn. And so these are the traits that have actually characterized my leadership. And these are the values that I hold on to in my leadership journey. And talking about continuous learning, Coach Bismarck will tell you that last year when I said we went on a tour to some sites in the Volta region where we did some very exciting things like climbing Afajato and all that. You know, it wasn't just about seeing the place. It wasn't just about climbing. It wasn't just about seeing the waterfalls and all that. You know, but I came back with a lot of education, with a lot of knowledge, a lot of information, because I asked questions. I asked questions, and that has really done a lot for me in terms of understanding even some of the tourist sites that we have. You know, I asked questions when I saw Bleak Falls, and I came back understanding even the year it was discovered, the kind of river that flows there, you know, and all that. Because that was the first time I saw a river that was roaring like the sea. And I'm like, wow. And I'm asking questions. And so for me, when it comes to learning, it doesn't matter who. I remember when we were in Niger, I was passing and I saw this woman doing some very beautiful embroidery work. And that was about the second or third time I had seen her. So I approached her and I said, could I learn this from you? You know, she was surprised because I'm talking about somebody who didn't have any formal education. And I said, yes, I want to learn. And so I went to her home, and she happened to be a very traditional person. You know, the typical Muslim setting, you realize that they sit a lot on mats. And so I had to sit on the mat with her to learn what she was doing. And I came back blessed because I could reproduce what she was doing. And for me, that is it. Because of that, I used to spend a lot of time with the Reverend Sisters also there when we were in Niger. Because the Catholic community was so small, and you had a lot of Reverend Sisters who were all white from France because of the kind of congregation that they belonged to. And every Wednesday afternoon, I spent time with them, learning how to do knitting, like how to knit sweaters, socks, and all those things. So I do knitting as well. And so for me, being there with them was an opportunity for me to learn. And I spent so much time with them that people began to think that I was one of them. Anyway, that is just by the way. So those are the values that I'm talking about. And just remember the nickname again. They're sorry about that, somebody wrote.
The way you shifted the conversation quickly when you were nearing that place.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Doc. Thank you for sharing these with us. I believe there have been challenges on this journey. Some you may want to share with us, and how were you able to surmount the challenges that came your way?
Okay. Challenges, there have been many. Like I said, even growing up, at the time I told you my dad was not well shortly after I had entered secondary school. And it was one of the defining moments where, young as I was, I told myself, look, you don't know when your old man will be leaving you. So why don't you get a profession so you could, being the elder of his second batch of children, so you could be in a position to look after your younger siblings. That was one challenge that I had very early. And even before then, when I was about 6, my mom was not well. She had to leave to go seek medical attention. And my brother, our last born at the time, was less than 1 year, and I was 5 going towards 6 years. For some reason, I had to carry him and take care of him most of the time, because he wouldn't go to any other person apart from me. And he was that very chubby type of baby. So you can imagine somebody close to 6 having to carry a chubby little boy for almost the whole day. You know, sometimes he'll be on my back and we'll be sleeping and all that. So right from my earliest years, I've had challenges. But when we come to the leadership journey, there have also been challenges. For instance, in the children's service, there's one incident that I think did a lot for me in terms of tolerance and in terms of appreciating very early that sometimes you don't expect people to commend you for the good things that you are doing. Sometimes you will have people even insulting you for doing good things. So I remember that day, that Sunday, when we had closed from first mass, because at the cathedral in those days, Sunday school used to be during the second mass. So those of us who were teachers would come for first mass and then go and use the second mass time to do the children's service. I realized I was alone that day. And so I had gone trying to find somebody to just come and help me, because one person taking care of a children's service of about 150 or more children was quite a handful. So I had asked them to take the lead and I was coming. Just as I approached the parish hall, I realized, I mean, in typical fashion, they were making a lot of noise. And if you know the cathedral very well, we were at their next hall at the time, and the meeting was going on in the main hall. So as soon as I got there and I realized they were making noise, I started doubling up so I could quickly get to them and get them to keep quiet. Because some of them were not even in the room, they were in the open space, making the noise and climbing. So when I got close, then this woman stood at the staircase landing. And when she saw me coming, she just asked the children in Ghana, "Why are you making so much noise?" Or the person teaching you, hasn't she got sense to ask you to keep quiet? And she saw me coming at the time. Very young lady, around 22 years of age, you know, taking care of other people's children, not even married at the time, and all that. And so I just asked, "Mommy, why? What have I done?" Oh, she didn't mind it, she just went to sit down. And you can imagine, so when I stood in front of the children, it was something, because I didn't understand why somebody could just, you know, I said it in English, so it sounded a bit decent. But the way she said it in Ghana, you could tell that you've been insulted very, very well. And so I don't want to repeat it here. Then I stepped out, and one of the elders, who also happened to be the renewal at the time, I saw him and I recounted to him, I said, I don't know why this lady should do what she did, but this is what she said to me when I'm doing my best to take care of these children. And then he was like, who did that? Fortunately, she was sitting in front. So I just pointed, I said, the lady sitting over there. Then I went back to the room. And interestingly enough, that group happened to be a group where my old man was both a patron and a member. So they talked about it, and then they sent a delegation to come and apologize to me. So they came in and then spoke. Then when I got home, my old man said, oh, what happened this morning? I mean, don't worry, it's not the first. It's not going to be the last. That's how it is. And that's when they were talking. He just told them that it's okay, they shouldn't disturb the woman, and that he'll speak to me when he gets home. And so that was what he told me, that it wouldn't be the last, that there are people who are simply not reasonable, and I'll be meeting a lot of them. And that was very prophetic, because a few years down the line, I've met my share of such people, you know, who you expect to support the good thing you are doing. But for some reason, they decide not to support. Sometimes they don't understand why it should be you doing a particular thing. And so they will do everything to just discourage you. Fortunately, I happen to have a tough skin when it comes to discouragement. I'm not easily discouraged. And so that has seen me through. But I've had my fair share of challenges. And even the fact that you are a woman, you know, leadership is another challenge. It's another challenge. I remember when I was the PPC chair at the cathedral, and somebody I considered a friend, told an executive member there to tell me that I should know that there are men at the PPC, so I should know how to talk. And I'm like, what? I said, what does that mean? You know, and it's some of the challenges, because I am not a pushover because I'm a woman. You know, if a man is not a pushover, it's normal. If a woman is not a pushover, she doesn't respect. You know, so sometimes you hear some of these things all over the place. It's been part of the challenges I've had too. And then another challenge that has happened many times, there are meetings that I'm not present, meetings at which I'm not present. They need a leader, and then I made the leader in absentia. On one particular occasion, I was in hospital on admission. They didn't even know, and I wasn't at the meeting. And when I was discharged, the first thing I heard was that they had elections, and I was the leader. And I said, how could people be so mean? Did you even find out? Of course, it wasn't these days of mobile phones. That was, I think, very early in the 90s, where even if people had mobile phones, you could count that number, you know. And I found it very insensitive. Later on, I asked them, you didn't see me, you didn't bother to find out where I was. you met and you decided that whether or not I was there, I needed to be the leader. I think it's insensitive. How about if I never came back? And in spite of all that, you are expected to perform. You are expected to give of your best. And so it's been some of the challenges. And then one other challenge is that people think that once you're a leader, you don't have any problems. And so they keep coming to you with their challenges. Very few people will stop and ask how you are doing. It's one of the challenges that I've faced in my leadership journey. But through it all, God has been faithful, and He's always giving the wisdom and understanding to know exactly what to do, exactly what to say, exactly how to weather the storm. And I'm so grateful to God for that.